In its 10 appearance, Crying Child, who we see in the FNAF 4 minigames, originally had no character name associated with him. At first, he was just the Crying Child that had a striped shirt and tears going down his face. This was actually the beginning of the speculation as to who these animatronics were possessed by. Originally, thanks to his appearance, we thought that the Crying Child was the puppet, since the puppet had a similar arm pattern to the child's shirt, and the streams of tears down his cheeks closely resemble that of the puppet's purple streaks. However, this was later proven to be false when we literally saw the puppet and Charlotte combined in FNAF 6. Well, we knew that it wasn't true beforehand, but it was finally confirmed in FNAF 6. The appearance of the Crying Child really threw us for a loop. This character has honestly been so problematic with the lore of the series. He's caused so many things to go awry. My god. In at 9, family. This kid has one messed up family, okay? Now I want to get one thing straight. The Crying Child is not Michael Afton. Originally we knew this, but then the security logbook made it seem like the Crying Child was Michael Afton, which confused us because how could he have gotten chomped but then still end up going to dismantle his father's enterprise? But that's not the case. Michael Afton is the Crying Child's brother, the one who wears the Foxy mask and scares him regularly. This kid is also the son of William Afton, mostly known as the Purple Guy, the man behind the slaughter, the main killer of the series. Springtrap, Scrap Trap, Will Trap, Breaker of Chains, and father of deceased children. The Purple Guy is this kid's father, okay? And it's pretty messed up because, well, the kid found out, which sets up a whole load of other possibilities as to if the chomp was really an accident and stuff, but let's not get into that. And at 8, the Bite of 80, what? The FNAF games are amazing at setting up mystery and dividing the community on certain things. The identity of Springtrap is one of them. There is probably still people who are certain that Michael Afton is Springtrap thanks to the end cutscene of Sister Location. However, this isn't the case, okay? I'm gonna say this for it's not the final time. It's William, guys. But the other thing is that everyone was divided on the Bite. The Bite of 87 is the most famous date in FNAF lore. It was revealed in the first game as an incident that got someone's frontal lobe bitten off by an animatronic in 1987, which made all animatronics lose free roaming privileges during the day. What we see in the FNAF 4 minigames, however, does take place during 1983, as shown on the TV and in the 1983 Easter egg that has the cameras showing the FNAF 4 house in Sister Location. If you type in 1983, you get the FNAF 4 house. 1983 equals FNAF 4. The chomp, as I'm calling it, does indeed take place in 1983 instead of 1987, so there you go. And 7, level guide. As I just mentioned, Helpy is a level guide for all of FNAF VR, including its DLC. He appears on every category of minigame, including but not limited to FNAF 1, FNAF 2, Dark Rooms, Danger Keep Out, and Spooky Mansion. But not only that, this canonically gives Helpy a hell of a lot of powers in the game series. Not only is he a pirate thanks to the Pirate Cove minigame, but he's also a werewolf according to the Afraid of the Dark section of Curse of Dreadbear, a vampire thanks to the Spooky Mansion section, and can be a ghost due to his animation of Danger Keep Out. He also knows his way around electronics in the Vent Repair and Parts and Service minigames. Really goes to show that Helpy is an underrated character that offers more than just neck-snapping sound effects when missing a ball pit during testing. That isn't the ball pit malfunctioning, that's Helpy's neck. Because, in at number 6, death. The Crying Child does indeed die when getting chomped, as we see in the FNAF 4 final cutscene where Michael puts him in the mouth of Golden Freddy, even though the Crying Child is terrified of them. His tears moisten the spring locks, and then just like his father, he gets subjected to a spring lock failure. But Crying Child actually dies. He is rushed to the hospital, but death in the form of Nightmare gets him. We hear the sound of a flatline as he dies. As he dies, however, he meets the spirits of his old friends, the missing children, who say that they're still his friends and that while yes, he's broken because his father is a killer and that everything he loved ended up killing him, they will put him back together. While tragic, at least he got to spend the afterlife with the people he loved the most, who were taken from him too soon at the hands of his dastardly father. And his brother, Michael, will spend the rest of his life repenting for his sins and the accidental killing of his brother by dismantling his father's criminal empire. Oh wait, the Missing Children's incident was in 1985, wasn't it? Halfway through number 5, appearance. Helpy has a very similar appearance to Funtime Freddy from Sister Location. He has a white body with purple accents on his snout, palms, stomach, feet, and inside ear. He has rosy red cheeks like his crush just talked to him, and he has a black bow tie, buttons, and top hat. And nose. He's very reminiscent of the Funtime Freddy from FNAF World, because that was such a good game that we need to keep around. But since he's so small, it's hard to get a lot of detail in there. I mean, he's small, but not tiny. He has blue eyes like most of the sister location animatronics, but he's missing Funtime Freddy's signature bonbon on his right hand and instead has 4 fingers on each hand. He also has buck teeth, perfect for cracking open a cold one with the boys, because you know that despite his short stature, Helpy is definitely a heavy drinker. His species is literally miniature toy, and I'm not mad about it. I kinda want a Helpy plush because he's actually fairly cute, even if he will send you through hell in the Pirate Ride minigame. And 4, mistaken identity. This isn't uncommon with FNAF characters. We think we know who they are, but then they turn out to be someone else entirely. We thought that Golden Freddy was Cassidy, now it could be multiple souls. We thought that Michael was Springtrap, but he isn't. We thought he could be Scraptrap, but he isn't. We have mistaken so many characters for who they are, it's probably making Scott very happy. But we have not done that as much with any other character than we have with the Crying Child. The Crying Child has been thought to be the puppet Golden Freddy, currently one half of Golden Freddy, Michael Afton, and other various names given to him by the community, but we don't know if any of these are true. We know which ones aren't true, but we only think that the Crying Child is part of Golden Freddy. It could be, since he tells Michael it's me, but we know that Michael looks a lot like his father, so maybe it's Cassidy saying it's me, the one you should not have killed, to someone that she thinks is William. There are so many variables, and there isn't enough information to really make a good guess, but we're still trying. Don't get me wrong, I believe that he is a part of Golden Freddy, but I'm just saying that we don't know for certain. But what we do know for certain is that... And 3, helpful. In the custom nights of the FNAF games, there are some challenges you can try and complete, especially in sister location where there are plenty. However, in FNAF 7 Ultimate Custom Night, we have to fight against our little happy helper. Helpy, though, is the only character to have his difficulty decrease in a challenge that is meant to be harder than the previous, meaning that he will actually get easier in between specific levels. Isn't he sweet? In this case, I'm talking about the Bears Attack challenges. In Bears Attack 1, his AI difficulty is set to 5. In Bears Attack 2, his AI difficulty is increased to 10, but in Bears Attack 3, his AI difficulty is decreased back to level 5. He knows we're working too hard and wants to cut us some slack, and it just makes me love him all the more for it. Thank you, Helpy. You help relieve my stress with your sped up MLG gamer and horn, and I love you for it. Helpy actually kinda reminds me of my pug. Penultimately, in number 2, Scarred. The Crying Child has clearly been scarred by the things he's seen. He may not have witnessed the missing children's incident since it does take place in 1985, but there is clearly some mental trauma that he has dealt with. The nightmare animatronics that are usually viewed as being seen by the Crying Child have mouths for their stomachs, clearly showing the location of the animatronic arm that Baby used to scoop Elizabeth up. The child became so fearful of these restaurants that he began to collapse and fall to the ground crying whenever he came close to one of the animatronics, even if it was just a man in a suit. The way we've seen this child evolve is clearly showing us his mental trauma and scarring that has happened over such a short amount of time too. At least he got a break from it all, you know, in death, when the friends he once had can put him back together. Finally, in at number 1, Legacy. This kid, while he may be fictional and, you know, dead, still has a whole legacy in the FNAF universe as well as our own. This kid is the reason the FNAF franchise exists, and while yes, he wasn't the first to die, he still was the reason for Michael starting to go around and trying to set the souls free, thus leading to FNAF 1. So while he may not have been the reason for FNAF 1 when it was released, he sure is the reason for it now. This kid has dealt with so much trauma, with having a father as a serial killer, seeing him kill a kid and stuff him, probably being friends with the original missing children, and then getting killed at the hands of Fredbear by your brother after your crying moistened the locks and made him chomp down on your head, then having hallucinations in the hospital that nightmare versions of the animatronics you once loved are coming after you. Jeez. It's pretty sad when you think about it. Poor kid. In at 10, not first. Apparently, unlike everyone from the YouTube comments, the puppet was indeed not the first. Well, first victim of William Afton. That ends up being Chica, as told to us by Chica in Ultimate Custom Night, saying, "I was first, I have seen everything." Which is pretty weird if you think about it, like, why is Susie the first one to die? Like, why can't it be Charlotte or Cassidy? Like, why must it be that every time we think we have something right about the series that's locked in and it's established in the community, Scott ends up just throwing it down the drain? It happens with the puppet and it happens with the identity of Michael Afton every other week, so I don't know why. Every time we think we know something, unless it's been directly confirmed, it gets thrown out the window. Well, unlike our first assumptions that the puppet wasn't first, but still. In at 9, Give Life. From the FNAF 2 minigame Give Gifts Give Life, we can tell that while not being the first, the puppet was the one who brought the other animatronics to life in the suits. We see as the children lay down on the ground, the puppet gives them gifts to cheer them up, because you know, being dead will put a bummer on things. But when that doesn't work, I guess the puppet's like, oh damn, they must be dead-o, and brings them to life in the animatronic suits, which is interesting from a lore standpoint now with what we know about Remnant, since, you know, they don't possess animatronics on their own. Were they in enough pain before they died? That sounds really bad, but like, did they not suffer enough? Should they have experienced more pain? Ah, man, what the FNAF series will do to literally any pure soul. Not that my soul was pure. Hell no, I don't have a soul. And I enjoy killing Braith in Skyrim too much for that, especially in VR. I'm still on that. VR killing simulator. And at 8, Behind the Mask. You wanna know who's behind the mask? Do you really want to know? You already know, people. Come on, I literally said it in number 10. It's Charlotte. Well, I mentioned Charlotte, but it's not like you didn't know that. It's not like this channel introduced you to the FNAF series. You're all here because MatPat isn't uploading any new theory videos. Well, except for that one he just uploaded. Well, either way, the one hidden behind the puppet mask is Charlotte, Henry's daughter, as revealed by the original FNAF novel trilogy. We technically don't know her official name in the game since her grave was blurred out in the gravestone ending of FNAF 6, but nevertheless, it's still Henry's daughter, as told to us by Henry himself during his final monologue in the real FNAF 6 ending, because we know this is Henry speaking, not only because he calls the puppet his daughter, but also because in the Insanity ending we can hear an audio file play, and the monitor on your computer has the file labeled as HRY223, HRY Henry. So, yes, Charlotte or Charlie is the puppet, even in the games. Chill up.
Number 7, killed Henry! But not really. This all went down in FNAF World, which is non-canon and of course is all speculative. People think the desk man who appears to either end his own life or be killed by Baby is Henry. And of course that Circus Baby in FNAF World likely killed him of those two options that are possible. There are a few reasons why people assume Desk Man is Henry, one of them being that his death seems similar to the version that we see in the FNAF story, The Silver Eyes. Of course, people also believe that the Circus Baby that we see in this game is some other model of the animatronic and not the same one that we see in Sister Location. Still, she's a version of Circus Baby, so this still seems like a relevant fact to keep in mind. Could come up later. As things from FNAF World or the novels could end up being inspiration for stuff that happens in the main series of games.
And at 6, key player. When we talk about FNAF, you usually think about the core 4 animatronics, the ones who have had multiple versions of themselves and have appeared in basically every game, aside from Chica and Sister Location. Yes, Scott was a little too tired of the fan art, but rules are rules, Scott, especially internet rules. However, even though she got introduced in the second game, the puppet has been presented in at least 6 out of the 8 FNAF games, appearing in FNAF 2, FNAF 3, FNAF 4's Nightmare On, FNAF 6 in the Security Puppet minigame, Ultimate Custom Night, FNAF VR Help Wanted, and FNAF 1 in the form of posters that can sometimes appear on the wall. The puppet has been, dare I say, puppeteering the FNAF series from the background, even before being a canon character in the series. Puns.
Number 5, aggressive. If you do choose to salvage Lefty when you find him in the back alley, be warned he can be aggressive. And if he gets too aggressive, he will jump scare you. You will live, but this will mean you miss out on that $5,000 reward you get for salvaging him, and mean that he is now loose in your restaurant just waiting to attack you. Not ideal.
And at 4, Lefty. The Lefty animatronic is actually an acronym. LEFTE stands for Lure, Encapsulate, Fuse, Transport, and Extract. So, before you go off in the comments saying that we spelt it wrong, technically we didn't. It's just more commonly written with a Y. This version of Freddy, which it is, don't come for me saying that it's not a Freddy, okay? Any bear with a Freddy characteristics is a Freddy animatronic, especially in this series. Anyway, this bear was specially designed by Henry to emit the bracelet code that corresponds to the one Charlotte was wearing, as we see in the Security Puppet minigame, the green one. Then use that bracelet to lure the puppet Charlotte, to capture her, bring her to the pizzeria from Pizzeria Simulator, and then free her soul. This line is such a good example of context and delivery. The way I put that is nice. He wanted to free his daughter's soul. But if I was to say something like capture her and then bring her to the pizzeria so that she could burn with the rest, which is still true, that sounds a lot more sinister. Just goes to show that you need more than one perspective on everything.
Number 3, dead now. During the end of Freddy Fazbear's Pizzeria Simulator, Circus Baby reveals her true, very villainous intent to consume as many souls as possible, hoping to continue her father's work. However, her victory is cut short when it is then communicated by Henry that he intended to bring her and the other animatronics here, luring them so that he could free the souls residing within them through destroying them and the pizzeria. The pizzeria is burnt down to the ground, ending the evil of the animatronics for good and freeing the souls trapped within them, including that of Elizabeth Afton. At least, that's how it seems.
And it two fan versions. While the normal puppet animatronic may not be scary per se, the fan-made versions of the character are. Take for example the Reaper puppet from Final Nights 3 and 4, the scrapped withered puppet that was showcased by Amanda in the Top 10 Scary FNAF Fan Animatronics Part 2, or literally any other animatronic puppet that was ever created. I don't know how people are so easily able to make this damn thing so scary. I usually don't include fan-made versions as a number on these facts lists, but for some reason so many people want to make terrifying versions of the puppet. What about the Havoc puppet from Dermitibus? Have you seen that thing? It's like the spiders in Australia got their hands on the illicit substances that bodybuilders use. If you're mad about the weird phrasing, blame YouTube, not me. Can't say anything anymore without being demonetized. Damn, this puppet got me ranting about YouTube. That means you know it did something. Finally, in number 1, family ties. The puppet is one of the few dead children to have a connection to someone important in the series, the others being members of the Afton family. The puppet, on the other hand, is a member of the Emily family. Well, at least according to the book, their last name is Emily, but who cares at this point? Out of everything we want answered, you decide to give us that, Scott? We legit have a list about top 10 FNAF unanswered questions, by the way. You should go check that out. Click in the top right corner. However, Charlotte has more of a connection than anybody else. I mean, she is Henry's daughter, the mastermind behind the animatronics of the Freddy's restaurants, and she was killed by William Afton, the business partner to her father. She was probably also friends with his kids since their parents were together so much, and she went on to become the first possessed animatronic, bringing to life all those that came after, either directly or by proxy.
Number 10. Freddy Fazbear's Pizzeria Simulator. Lefty first appeared in the 6th game of the franchise, Freddy Fazbear's Pizzeria Simulator. He is one of the few animatronics you find in the back alley and can salvage for spare parts. This doesn't sound so scary until you play FNAF 6 and realize just what salvaging entails, and you get to see this state the Lefty is in when you find him. Salvaging an animatronic for parts is usually done when that animatronic is no longer considered to be worthy of saving or repairing fully. So you can imagine just what kind of state the animatronics you find and can attempt to salvage from that back alley are in. Not good. Nightmarish.
There's another aspect to your end-of-day routine.
Number 9. Unknown Origins. When you find Lefty in the back alley, the Cassette Man voice recording will share that we do not know where this Lefty came from, as it does with all salvageable animatronics. So what was this messed up version of Lefty up to before it made its way to our establishment in Pizzeria Simulator? Well, Lefty is also an animatronic that you can find in the auction catalog, and has a rock star look to him, implying that he might have been an animatronic from another franchise location who maybe escaped. Also, if you collect him and all of the Rockstar animatronics, you get an achievement for that, saying that you put the Rockstar ones together, so you can assume he's part of the Rockstar crew. Because his first appearance, however, was in FNAF 6 Pizzeria Simulator, much about his past beforehand remains pretty unknown. So much of it is still relegated to theories and speculation. Although we do get a pretty good little bit of intel in this game if you can find it. Little Easter egg in there. Number 8. Rockstar Freddy? Well, Lefty definitely has some Rockstar Freddy vibes going on, literally looking like a black and red version of Rockstar Freddy down to the shape of his body. He has some slight differences in his appearance. Namely, his nickname Lefty in part comes from the fact that he holds his microphone in his left hand, whereas Rockstar Freddy holds it in his right hand. As I stated previously as well, we don't know Lefty's origins, though it is believed that he was invented or at least modified by William's partner Henry, with the sole purpose of luring and capturing a certain animatronic within him. But which one? Will Amanda tell us more facts? Stay tuned to find out!
Number 7. Appearance. The puppet has a very simple design. Black fabric covering the body aside from white stripes near the wrists and a mask. See, even dead children possessing animatronics will wear face masks, people. The mask is a simple yet freaky design. It has solid black empty eyes with purple streaks running down from them. They're like voids. with red cheeks like some damn demonic Pikachu, and then a mouth that makes me not want to know what that mouth do. Probably eat my damn face. This is one creepy animatronic, especially when presented in the right way, like when walking down the hallway in FNAF VR. Other than that, if it's just chilling in the music box, it's fine. Even if it's poking its little head out, like, it's still okay. Why is it that people like use nursery rhymes to make stuff scary? Like Pop Goes the Weasel, for example. Why do people use that to be scary? It's not alright because it works, okay? Children are already scary enough as it is. I almost got stabbed by one when I was working in an elementary school as a co-op student in high school. Yeah, they mentioned it as a hazard, but I thought it was a joke. Nope. One time, the teacher wasn't around and that little bugger just came running at me with scissors. Luckily, they were safety scissors because it's not like I would have put that kid on the ground, but honestly, I should have. Even if I really did want to. True story.
Number 6. High risk, high reward. You'll notice as you acquire items and attractions in Pizzeria Simulator that there is a liability risk with certain items. If you find a lefty and manage to salvage him, you will earn a net profit of $5,000, which can obviously buy you lots of goodies from the catalogs for your pizzeria. However, if you simply want to acquire your own lefty for your restaurant, you can find him for purchase for $5 in the Rare Finds auction catalog. Yay! But also, yikes. Lefty is a super high risk item, proving just how dangerous of an animatronic he is. He has a risk rating of 9, but he also has an entertainment value of 9. So high risk, high reward indeed. His liability risk rating gives you the impression that he increases your chance of a lawsuit, simply because he is one of the most likely animatronics, I guess, to attack and possibly kill customers or employees. And he'll also then be free to roam at night and potentially kill or torment you while you attempt to complete your nighttime tasks. Although really the worst case scenario there is if you try to salvage him and he escapes. Then you don't get any money and lots of liability. Number 5. Yellow Eyes. Speaking of FNAF World, in that game, the version of Circus Baby we saw was also different from the main series counterpart in terms of her appearance. This version of Circus Baby had yellow eyes. She appears after the Chica magic rainbow ending is achieved. Baby is one of the Desk Man's creations gone wrong, who ends up becoming his enemy. Some even believed if FNAF World had continued to be updated, we would see her play a more prominent role as a major antagonist in its next update. Number 4. Mysterious. Lefty has an interesting personality when it comes to his behavior. He is very stealthy and creepily quiet, choosing to shh the players before he speaks. Even though you obviously weren't saying anything, why is he shushing? This makes his dialogue more creepy and just makes him a more frightening animatronic in general when compared to some of the others, not just in Pizzeria Simulator but also compared to other animatronic casts from previous games.
In at 3, creation. The creation of the puppet is very straightforward. I've been saying it this whole video, really. Charlotte was brutally murdered outside of a Freddy Fazbear's Pizzeria, as we see in the FNAF 2 minigame of Take Cake, where Freddy is tasked with bringing cake to crying children while we helplessly watch her get killed by none other than, you guessed it, Matthew Perry. Okay, not really, but that then takes us to the events of the security puppet minigame from FNAF 6, where we see the puppet head outside the back of the pizzeria and finds Charlotte's dead body, and then falls down next to her, allowing her to live on by possessing it, which potentially takes us to Midnight Motorist, which makes me think that the crying child saw Charlotte be killed by his father, since he was at the Fazbear restaurants and the father, you know, he got home. It was called later that night. You know, I'm not certain, but it's just a theory. Theory for another video. You thought I was gonna say it.
Number 2. The Puppet Within. While we don't know a ton about Lefty's backstory, something we do know is about the surprise inside of him. The surprise being another animatronic that we've become eerily familiar with since FNAF 2. The Puppet. Possibly one of the most terrifying animatronics of all time. Let me know if you are also terrified of the puppet in the comments below. So yeah, with Lefty, it's like 2 animatronics for the price of 1. The horrifying puppet and the super bone-chilling whispery Lefty. Yikes. In fact, that is what Lefty's acronym of a name refers to, the fact that the puppet is encapsulated within it. Lefty appears to have been created to lure and capture the puppet so that Henry could ensure it would return to the pizzeria and he could finally free his daughter's soul trapped within it. Number 1. Music to soothe the savage animatronic. Because Lefty is actually controlled by the puppet, who is in turn possessed by Charlie, Henry's daughter, it's unsurprising that we later learn in Ultimate Custom Night, where Lefty also appears, that music helps to calm this animatronic. Noise and heat agitate Lefty, but to avoid Lefty getting aggravated and jump scaring you, you can turn on the global music box. However, this will drain your power more quickly in Ultimate Custom Night, so it's usually not something you want to leave on all the time. However, this makes a lot of sense for Lefty to be soothed by the music box, which is what keeps the puppet from waking up in FNAF 2. Number 10. Bells on her feet. While Circus Baby seems to be fairly quiet and stealthy in the games, her design actually seems to have a built-in alarm for her to be heard while moving. Although oddly enough, we don't hear or notice it at all in the games. Her feet seem to have little bells on them, or if not bells, as we can't hear them obviously, little shiny gold balls. While many of Circus Baby's specific design features seem to have a purpose, such as her compression pins, these gold balls' function remain unknown. We do not yet know for sure if they have some unspecified purpose or are merely a design choice and purely aesthetic. Number 9. Her eye color. Circus Baby's eye color is very important, and not just the change that happens to it when she becomes possessed by Elizabeth Afton's spirit. No sir. Circus Baby's eyes were of course originally blue, but we do see them change to green after Circus Baby consumes Elizabeth. This is obviously meant to symbolize Elizabeth's spirit remaining within Circus Baby, trapped there, but also in a way changing her personality and possessing her. Green eyes seem to be something Scott Cawthon is obsessed with, or just he likes them, as they tend to also pop up all over the place in the books, and eye color itself is very much focused on. So it should be noted that Circus Baby and Elizabeth aren't the only ones with green eyes, but Vanessa, the security guard from the newest game, Security Breach, also has green eyes as well. And friends, before we move on to our number 8 spot, just a quick reminder to give this video a thumbs up if you like FNAF and you want some more FNAF videos from us. Who doesn't? Number 8. Blueprints. Get ready for a whole lot of scary, cause this fact is pretty wild. Fans were quick to point out after getting a look at Circus Baby's blueprints that there seemed to be something hidden in her torso. Can you see it? If you look closely, you can see what appears to be a child in a fetal position within her chest cavity. Are our eyes playing tricks on us, or is this legit? We do have a tendency to see things that aren't really there when it comes to faces and bodies, and yet this seems too creepy and relevant to be a coincidence. Also, watch out, because Circus Baby doesn't seem to be the only animatronic who has this feature. Number 7, but first you'll need to lose an eye and an arm. Okay, so Lefty doesn't actually have any specific relation to Foxy, but I just like that song that Foxy sings, and I like Foxy, and I thought it was fitting, considering that Lefty does seem to be missing at least an eye, although he's still got an arm, so he's not quite a pirate yet. I'm not sure if it is because he got in a scrap with Foxy, or if he wants to be a pirate, or if he was perhaps just designed that way, or just not kept in good working order. But his missing eye is pretty freaky, especially as the empty socket and eyelid are still very visible there. The only thing that would be more creepy in my opinion is if he managed to be missing both and still operate somehow. Something about an animatronic with their eyes just like gouged out, staring deeply into my soul, just really gives me those spooky feels. Number 6. Her allegiance. We've talked about Circus Baby's villainous intentions, and we've talked about her good intentions as well. So what side is Baby really on? To understand that, we need to take a closer look at her motivations in the games. Overall, it seems like she wants to be free and will attempt to get what she wants at any cost. This might also imply that on a subconscious level, wanting to be free actually means more than escaping her captivity at Circus Baby Entertainment and Rental. The desire for freedom might also be coming from Elizabeth's spirit, who longs to finally move on following her death. This makes Circus Baby more complex than just being lumped into a villain or a hero category. If anything, this makes her initially at least an anti-hero with villainous tendencies. After all, in Sister Location, she attempts to help the other animatronics as well, but of course has to do some pretty unsavory things to do so. However, once Circus Baby becomes Scrap Baby in the games, she reveals that she really is the big bad when she confesses her desire to consume as many souls as possible. Oh boy.
Halfway through at number 5, First. While no, Charlotte may not have been the first victim by William Afton, she was the first to possess any animatronic. This was shown to us in the security puppet minigame, where we see the puppet and Charlotte combined after she was brutally killed by Afton outside of a Fazbear joint. With what we now know about Remnant and Agony, how true possession only comes from intense pain and emotion in the form of agony, we can be damn well sure that she was in agonizing pain when she was killed. Not only was she, you know, murdered at the hands of her father's friend and business partner, but she was also stuck outside of her favorite place on Earth, somewhere that was literally designed to defend her. But the security puppet was blocked off by an unknown source, probably just a couple of bullies who wanted a girl out of their fun. So she was in agony, so much so that she was instantly able to possess an animatronic that was designed to defend her. So much that it sacrificed itself by crawling in the rain. It's like Henry coded himself into the security puppet. That's a theory for another day.
Number 4, To Be Beautiful. Some believe that Circus Baby is actually the animatronic who claims to be named Eleanor in the story To Be Beautiful, out of the book Fazbear Frights #1. Whether or not you believe the books to be canon, you have to admit that Eleanor does bear a strong resemblance to Circus Baby. She does appear thinner and taller, more grown up looking than Baby, but it is possible Circus Baby is using her pins here to manipulate her appearance. After all, Circus Baby herself is actually 6 feet tall, or I think a little bit above that. Might even be 6'9" actually, so she herself is really tall and could be using her compression pins to alter her shape here. If it is true that Eleanor is indeed Circus Baby, this means that Baby isn't only capable of changing her appearance, but is also able to change the appearance of others too, like she did with Sarah in the story, performing surgery on her while she slept, swapping out her human parts for junkyard ones. Number 3, actually it's Lefty. Lefty might seem like a cute name for an animatronic. It's catchy and seems pretty innocent, right? But Lefty's name isn't really that innocent when you look into it. Lefty is actually just a nickname for this shiny and fancy animatronic. His full name is actually a lot longer and doesn't have a Y at the end. Lefty is actually Left-E, with an E at the end. Or really, if we were saying it how it was spelt, Left, which is a lot less exciting and isn't actually a complete name for him. As I said, it's a lot longer than you think because Lefty is actually an acronym for Lure, Encapsulate, Fuse, Transport, and Extract. The acronym of course was used to create the nickname Lefty, which is much less suspicious and scary sounding. We find out the truth behind Lefty's name in the blueprints that can be found if you manage to unlock them on the computer in your office. Number 2. Heather Masters. Heather Masters is the one responsible for providing Circus Baby's voice in Sister Location. And while Circus Baby is seemingly gone from the world, being burnt up, it should be noted that Heather Masters will still be doing voice work for the game franchise, loaning her voice to that of the security guard in Security Breach, Vanessa. I'm not saying that this means anything. I mean, it could just be that Scott Cawthon really loves Heather's voice and working with her. But like the green eyes belonging to Circus Baby and Elizabeth that I mentioned before, this is just another connection we can draw from Circus Baby and the Aftons to Vanessa. Number 1, possible return? This isn't so much of a fact as a theory, but hey, a lot of our facts in FNAF often start out as theories that are either confirmed or denied by the story that we follow in the game. So take this one with a grain of salt, but keep in mind that it could possibly be true, or some of it could be true at least. Some think that Vanessa and Vanny could be the same person, which could very well be true and their names are super similar as well. But what if this is a mislead and Vanessa is also, or is instead, a relative of the Aftons? What if she is Circus Baby who somehow survived with Elizabeth's soul intact and is assuming a human form? Or what if she is Elizabeth and Michael's mom and William Afton's wife? It's possible that we could see the return of Circus Baby in Security Breach somehow, given that we know Heather Masters is involved and the connection of those green eyes with a storyteller who often uses eye color to connect the dots for us. I'm just saying, Scott's all about eye color, so it's gotta mean something, right? Right?
In Nights At Freddy, we all know Helpy as Helpy, that's his name. However, looking at the files from FNAF 6, we can see the original name for Helpy. You ready for this? I don't think your body is able to handle this. Okay, drum roll please! Little Freddy. Yeah, it's literally named after a euphemism for a dong. This was shown off on Reddit after someone was going through the game files, and there was a link to an Imager file, and that's basically it. That's the number. Helpy's name was originally Little Freddy until later on. there was technically no name. Until at least... And at number 9, no name. Helpy's name is mentioned nowhere in the game. The only reason he has a name is because Scott confirmed it in an update notes from the game. Until that point, people were just calling him by made up names, since like I said, it gets mentioned nowhere. But for some reason, this seems to happen fairly often from my experience. It could be that Scott just named him that because people were calling him that, but when I was watching the Yogscast play the Forest, they ended up calling one of the mutants Armsy, and that ended up being the mutant's name. This could also explain why Helpy was known as Little Freddy in the files, since he never was really meant to have a name, until Scott had to update it, you know? And at 8, VR. FNAF VR had a whole cast of animatronics, like a montage of their greatest hits, more so than Ultimate Custom Night. That's right, I said it. No matter what, there are quite a few animatronics absent from that game, including the entire cast of FNAF 6. Sure, a couple of them had a cameo, most notably Scrap Baby as one of the plush babies, but the only FNAF 6 animatronic to make a full appearance is Helpy. He appears to show you the levels and minigames, but he can also appear behind the monitor of the level select, but also in FNAF 2's filing cabinet. It will honestly probably scare the hell out of you because you're not used to it, plus Helpy is freaking huge and in your face at this point. And I mean, like, Helpy himself isn't really that scary, but when he's frozen in your face and has a foot glitching through the table, it's bound to be at least a little scary. And it's 7 Astro Boy. When we thought the crying child was indeed Michael Afton, we had to find some reason for how this could be possible. So in typical theory fashion, we turned to other media. The media we turned to in this case was the original FNAF book trilogy, which ended with The Fourth Closet, which kept making me think that there were 4 books in that series, but that's aside the point. In the book, we learn that Henry built his daughter into 4 different robots. That's what the title means, Fourth Closet. Implanting memories in each of them so that she could grow up even after death. So, after hearing that there were hyper-realistic robots that were so realistic they can turn other characters on, it felt free to assume that the same thing happened to Michael. That after getting chomped, Henry was so stricken with grief after losing 2 kids that he rebuilt him as a robot, and that robot went on to get scooped and you know everything else. But this isn't true.
And
at 6 FPS. The frame rate of Helpy's animation in FNAF 6 is very low. There are only 4 frames per each animation, whether it's when he's fishing or about to jump into a ball pit, anything really. The only time Helpy has a smooth animation is in FNAF 6, when he's riding the rocket ship in the Riding Rockets minigame. These animations are smoother and have more frames, so he's able to move around quite well, especially when he's playing the game. The stopping animation is a little choppy, and another one of the animations is a little janky, but for the most part it's actually pretty solid. I don't know why this is a thing, like why his animations are slow unless it's for this minigame, but I thought it was a pretty interesting fact. And isn't that what this list is all about? Halfway through at number 5, Friendly Fan. In the beginning, the crying child actually loved the Fazbear animatronics. His father made them, so of course he would. He would go there on a regular basis. He had plushies of the original 5, and his sister even had a Funtime Foxy. The crying child in reality loved everything his father created, until he witnessed the true nature of what his daddy done did. His father created a robot that was meant to trap children inside, which is probably why he told them to stay away from Baby, but Elizabeth didn't listen. And when she got close after crying child I'm sure warned her against it, she got grabbed, taken by a robot arm reaching out of Baby's stomach, pulling her inside and killing her. He saw all this happen before his very eyes, and what was once a love for the characters his father helped create quickly turned into hatred and fear for what his dad had made. And at 4, Honk. We all know the signature honk of the FNAF games. Whenever you click on Freddy's nose on a poster or whatnot, we always get a lovely honk. It serves as a tension breaker in an otherwise horrifying and stressful game. And in FNAF 6 we thought we would have lost it. However, Helpy came to the rescue since we can use his cute little button nose as our booping outlet and relieve some of the tension brought on by this game. This is the first time an actual animatronic has been used to get the honk, since in Sister Location, it was just Psychic Friend Fredbear. He's here, he's there, he's everywhere. Who you gonna call? Psychic Friend Fredbear. I'm sorry, I have to do it every time. But actually, I think I'm gonna call Helpy instead. That's right, I said it. I don't need some freaky Freddy doll that wants to take over my life. No, I'd rather have a lovable tiny bear animatronic that will smother me in my sleep. At least he'll do it with love. And at number 3, Unnamed. The crying child has never been given an official canon name. He isn't Michael, he isn't Chris, no official canon source has named him. He isn't named Chuck like he is in Step Closer, and he isn't named Stan. He has been given no canon name from any source, so if people are arguing with you about his name and saying that he has one, feel free to direct them to this video and say that no, he doesn't. Hi, all the people who are being told no, he doesn't. Because on no official wiki is he labeled as Chris Afton, always the crying child. So please, for the love of sweet baby Rays, stop saying that he does, okay? Don't call him Chris or Chuck or Stan or Dipper or Charles or hell, even Prince Clifford Tuckett III. No name has been associated with this character other than the crying child. He isn't the puppet, he could be Golden Freddy, and he isn't Michael. Well, he could be Michael, but that's a theory for another list. It's a long story. We don't know his name, and you're just gonna have to accept that. I'm sorry, but it's true. In it too, Quiet Boy. In Ultimate Custom Night, Helpy will jump scare you, however he doesn't actually end the game. Instead, he's described as increasing the noise meter so your run can be ended because of another animatronic, the Music Man or something like that. However, despite this being in the character description, he doesn't actually raise the noise meter. He sounds off an air horn, but he doesn't, since he's never really holding one. This makes me think it's some form of hallucination or Cassidy messing with your head. Fun fact, this is actually the sound my heart makes when I get jump scared in a FNAF game. The slightly sped up version of the MLG Gamer meme horn. And yes, that is actually what the sound is, I'm not even kidding. Yeah. Finally, in at number 1, Security Breach. Helpy was actually in the Security Breach trailer, I'm not even kidding. I mean, the animatronic wasn't there, but Helpy's face was. During the shot of the kitchen in the reveal trailer, the introduction of the Moon Man animatronic, we were too distracted to see Helpy's face on a barrel to the right of the screen. The barrel has the text torque fraction toil. I don't know what the fraction is, but there is a small character, a slash, and then another character underneath, so it has to be some form of fraction. Helpy's face is plastered on the side, and this will probably be his only appearance, unfortunately, which kinda sucks, cause like, Helpy's cute. I mean, I don't know what he would do in this game. I mean, like, he could help you, perhaps. I don't know, maybe Glam Rock Freddy is gonna be just a really big version of Helpy. I don't know. I kinda want that. I mean, that would be weird, but I'd want it.